Pandemonium has broken out here on Elvis Presley Boulevard in Memphis. Thousands of fans from all over the country are converging on Graceland, trying to get in to view the body of the 42-year-old king of rock and roll.
2 days after the death of Elvis Presley, a line of cars will follow his casket here to Forrest Hill Cemetery and this mausoleum. This is the original burial place of Elvis Presley. Join me today on Walk with History from Memphis, Tennessee.
No, you don't have to twist my arm. You know that I'm satisfied. You ain't gotta twist my arm. And you know that I'm satisfied. Honey, there ain't no need preaching to the choir like that.
Hi, Jen of Walk with History, veteran, historian, and current resident of Memphis, Tennessee. It's hard to not talk about the most influential, famous person from this town, Elvis Presley. And today I'm here from his original burial place. Elvis will pass at 42 years old, so unexpectedly that nothing has been prepared or set up for his funeral arrangements. His coffin is laid in state in the music room at Graceland, and thousands of people will go through the music room to visit him. 2 days later, on August 18th at 3:30 p.m., his casket is sealed, an 800-pound copper line casket, carried to the hearse and slowly driven here 5 miles per hour to Forrest Hill Cemetery. This location is chosen because his mother is already buried here. Now, this mausoleum was built in 1915 for the elite upper class of Memphis. Now, in 1977, Elvis Presley could definitely afford to be buried here. So this is where he is put with his mother. She is disinterred from her grave, and they are both put here inside this mausoleum.
Preaching to the choir like that. And you don't have to die for me to prove your love. Ain't got no fire.
Forrest Hill Cemetery here in Midtown was established in 1888. It was chartered in 1892. Today, it consists of 180 acres and 1,300 burials. 2 other cemeteries have since been added, and you'll hear their names also mentioned as Forrest Hill Cemetery. But this is the original one. This is the one where Elvis Presley was originally buried. This is where the founder of Holiday Inn is buried, and also one of the victims of the West Memphis Three.
No mountain top, honey, be true. Honey, be true to me.
To understand why Forrest Hill Cemetery is selected as the original burial place for Elvis Presley, it's because his mother was buried here. In 1958, his mother will succumb to heart failure. She dies August 14th, 1958. Elvis at the time is in the Army. He's at Fort Hood, and he's granted a 7-day emergency family leave to be with his mother. He gets here on August 12th and is able to spend 2 days with her before she passes. The next day is her funeral, and she's buried here. This area is selected close by this mausoleum, which another family is buried here, and she's buried out in front. Now, if you've seen me at Graceland before, that big white cross that says Presley, that was her marker here. And she had an original tombstone here. Elvis Presley helped select all of those items for her grave. He's granted a 5-day extension of his emergency leave. About 900 people come to this funeral, most of them to see Elvis himself. But Elvis is distraught and will visit here often throughout his life. As you can see, fans still believe she is here and want to commemorate her original burial place. Wreaths are still left today with her name on it. cemetery for Elvis's extended family. Many of his aunts and uncles and cousins are buried here. Not far from where Gladys was originally buried, her sister Lillian is buried here. Now, she doesn't pass until 1990, but before she passes and before Elvis passes, her husband will die in 1971, which leads you to believe that Elvis probably visited this funeral not far from his mother. And unfortunately, a very close cousin of his, Bobby Jane, will pass away in December of 1976. That's about 9 months before Elvis. He probably visited here as well. They were close friends. There's pictures of them online. There's pictures of her hanging out with Priscilla, again, not far from Gladys. And if you're gonna visit her grave, know that if you visit the Wren Monument, his cousin is also close by.
Now, listen, baby, I understand. Said you're preaching out the fire down in me.
So after the funeral procession arrives here at the mausoleum, there is a little makeshift sanctuary inside where just close family will do another little service for Elvis Presley. His mother's body has already been exhumed. Her coffin is put into one of the side rooms here in the mausoleum, and Elvis' coffin is placed on top. However, less than 2 weeks later, you have 3 men who will try to break into the mausoleum. Now, they don't actually get in, and they're not successful. And if you heard me before, it is an 800-pound copper-lined casket. It takes 10 men as pallbearers for Elvis Presley to even lift the casket. So I don't know what 3 men really were expecting to do, and no one really even knows what they were planning to do because they were caught before. Now, it's at that time that the Presley family is going to write a letter to the officials here in Memphis asking to have the body moved to Graceland where they can provide security. To provide security here at the mausoleum would be $200 a day. And since they already provide that security at Graceland, they would like to have his body, his mother's body, moved to Graceland, and they would dedicate the meditation garden to the forever home of Elvis Presley and his family, since his father is now buried there, his grandmother is now buried there, and Lisa Marie and her son, Ben, Elvis Presley's grandson. The front of this mausoleum was locked, and it is usually locked. That's the way they keep people out of there, especially vandals. In recent years, people have taken to signing the wall inside this mausoleum, and they don't want to see that happening here to the mausoleum. But from what I'm told, if you walk around back, you can get in. So let's see if we can get in around back.
No, you don't have to die for me to prove your love. Ain't gotta walk fire, keep me burning up. Ain't gotta climb no mountain top. No, you don't, no, you don't, no, you don't, no, you don't. Honey, be true.
So this mausoleum was built in 1915 for the more elite upper scale people of Memphis. And the front door brings you straight into the chapel, where you have a little ceremony here, and then the back door brings you in this way. If you come in the front door and make your immediate right, Elvis and his mother were in the first crypt, or the first area. His mother's coffin was disinterred and then put here, and then his coffin was laid on top of hers. Both of them very heavy, 800-pound copper-lined coffins. You can see people come here and sign. They ask the people not do this. It's kind of defacing, just like people do in front of Graceland, but it hurts the marble, but you can see people still come and do it. But like I said, they weren't sure if this was going to be the final place, if it was going to be made more permanent. At the time, it was not as permanent. It's never been reused by anybody else. And Walk with History is going to leave a flag here for Elvis Presley because of his military service and what that means to us. We're really proud that Elvis Presley served in the Army, and we're really proud of what he did for veterans with the rest of his life. So we're happy here to honor the King of Rock and Roll. This city has really embraced who he means to the city, and even today, so much so that this original burial site is documented and a visiting place for true Elvis fans. I just want people to see and know the reason why Elvis came here. If you want to visit extended family, they are here, and it's here waiting for you if you ever want to visit Forrest Hill Cemetery. On to my next Walk with History.
Be true to me.